too, so they can look
Okay.
at it. So overall, when we look at kids, right, so 100, if she was scoring just like other kids who were right at age 6, she'd be scoring right at 100. And when we kind of factor everything together, for me today, she scored at a 59, which is what we would call in the mild range of intellectual disability.
Yes.
But when we actually rate her on her day-to-day living skills, which is what the school had done, you're actually rating her up here in like the 90s, and the school's rating her in like the 80s. So they're rating her like more below average, but actually this is, we would call that borderline, so below average, but not in the range of intellectual disability. So we have a little bit of evidence kind of in both directions, but I think given the severity of the delays that she's had, especially academic learning skills, calling it a mild a lot of that I think might have to do with she has really severe language influenced pretty heavily by how well she by just her inability her verbal skills today actually fell right at an 80, which is a little higher than we would expect. But her verbal comprehension is pretty significantly delayed. Delayed. And with what the school did, I think we're kind of all thinking about her now sort of in the same way. That while day-to-day living skills overall, she might have some delays as we're seeing in school, and at home she's doing quite well, but then academically we would expect that she's going to struggle.
Can you give me an example of the verbal, the one that you just said, comprehension delay? How does that work?
How do I measure it?
No, what, I mean, when we say, go please pick up the pencil, is that what you're talking about? What exactly are you talking about?
Yep, exactly. So the things that I gave her today is being able to follow a direction. I think a lot of times she won't understand the direction that we give her unless it's very familiar, or we repeat it a lot, or we try to add in some other things, like maybe point to what you want her to do, and then she can infer a little bit about what you're asking for her to do. She also has a little bit of a hard time with what we call W questions. So when or where, I sometimes had to repeat those things, and she would often guess, I think, or give me an answer that she might give at another time, even though, like, to a different W question. Like, sometimes you might ask her when, and she might answer where, and mix those W questions up.
I know Mo has worked with her about, with like multiple objects, put the toy on the shelf and put the cup on the floor, and those types of things.
Yep, that's exactly what she's worked. That's exactly the kind of
so
thing.
Is that the weakest point, that comprehension of
that
type of stuff?
Yep, that was so she struggled with things like when I asked her, I had 5 toys out on the table, and I said, give me all the animals, and she gave me all the toys. Of what I wanted her to do, but she didn't understand all of what I wanted her to do. That answer is actually quite typical for a child who's either 2 or 3. So it's a pretty common error that a 2-year-old would make, but not a common error that a 6-year-old would make. Those types of things. And she would follow out in part of the direction, but not the full direction. Put a tree behind your back. She took the tree, and I repeated the direction again, and then she just put the tree back into the. So I think she heard behind your back, and then I said, well, put the tree behind your back, and she put the tree back. So she's following parts of directions. I think she's picking up on words that she understands. She did try really hard today, and I think I pushed her a little bit towards the end. She got a little teary and wanted to said, are we we done yet? Go see Daddy. But she was able to push through it. So I think she's trying really, really hard. I think that just is really difficult for her to understand what I'm asking her.
Okay. Wait a minute, please. We're almost done.
You did a good job today, Amelia. How's the medication?
We give it to her as prescribed, anywhere between 1 and 1.5 milligrams a day. It's partially working, but not
totally working, and school doesn't have any concerns at all?
None.
Good.
That we're aware of.
Okay, good. And it might be in just a smaller class with lots of structure. I'm glad that she's in the smaller classroom. I'm glad they're giving her lots of support. She really needs to be working on some of her fundamentals skills.
So what would be the top maybe 2 things that she needs to work on that we can work on it with her at home?
So I think really trying to reinforce everything that so she's still seeing Maureen in addition at school. Everything that the speech that Maureen tells you to work on, I would reinforce at home. I think you're probably already doing that. So I would take those speech type of suggestions directly from Maureen about what did you work on this week and how can we support that at home so that you're working on the same skills. So without me seeing Maureen's treatment plan, it's hard for me to make a specific recommendation about what to work on. But if it's like 2-step directions, so before you do and I assume that she's probably also worked on 2-step related commands. So a related command would be go get your coat and put it on. So it's like one directly leads to the other. So it sounds like she might be working on 2-step commands where they're totally different, not related. So those types of things I would try to support at home and just ask her to do those things just in day-to-day life, day-to-day context. So if that's what she's working on, support that at home. So you could say something to her like, go get your dish and put it in the sink and then go put your PJs on. So that would be a 2-step command of 2 unrelated things that she could do. That might be pretty difficult because she has to go to different rooms to do it. But those